The Cleveland Browns have decided that the future is now, not the forever future, the near future. The Cleveland Browns have pulled the plug on Joe Flacco and have announced they will start Dillon Gabriel Sunday in London against the Minnesota Vikings. Jeff Lloyd, the BetCanada channel. Now, the Cleveland Browns came into this season with a very intriguing quarterback room. Veteran Kenny Pickett brought in through trade. Veteran Joe Flacco brought back on a free agent contract, drafted Dillon Gabriel in round 3, and drafted Shador Sanders in round 5. The spring really was all about Pickett, Gabriel, and Sanders. The Browns were making it easy on Joe Flacco, understanding at 40 years old to ask him to go from April to possibly February was a lot to ask. Once the summer rolled around, Flacco was near the top of the depth chart and getting a lot of the reps with veteran Kenny Pickett. Then the injuries began. Kenny Pickett missed almost all of training camp. Dillon Gabriel missed a couple of weeks with a hamstring. Shador Sanders missed about 10 days with a flexor muscle in his rib cage. Joe Flacco won the job and won the job easily. But then we got to the regular season. And unfortunately for Joe Flacco, he looked every bit of 40 years old. The play looked slow, labored, zero mobility. And the Joe Flacco that the Cleveland Browns had a nice run with in 2023 was nowhere near the same product the Browns had in 2025. Sitting at 1-3, and most people would think at 1-3 in the AFC North in most years, your season might be over. Well, with Joe Burrow out for Cincinnati and that team sitting at 2-2, the Ravens are currently 1-3, and Lamar Jackson is nursing an injury. It's not that far fetched to believe that the Cleveland Browns are still very much alive at 1-3 within the AFC North. They pulled the plug on Flacco and have inserted third round selection Dillon Gabriel, taken 94th overall in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Browns spoke and have spoken very eloquently on Dillon Gabriel, on his brains, his work in the fill room, his work on the whiteboard, his anticipation, just how he plays on time. Everything about Dillon Gabriel was positives as far as the Cleveland Browns were concerned. They loved him during the draft process. They snuck out to Oregon and met with Dillon Gabriel before they went to the Colorado Pro Day to watch Shador Sanders work. The Browns were very much interested in Dillon Gabriel. And I think the fact that Dillon Gabriel was such a fast processor and had success at over 3 different colleges. Won 46 of 63 career collegiate starts, 155 touchdown passes. The resume spoke for itself for Dillon Gabriel. The only thing that was holding Dillon Gabriel back from being a legitimate draft selection in 2025 was measurables. Dillon Gabriel is just about 5'11". Dillon Gabriel is just about 205 pounds. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the strongest guy. But everywhere Dillon Gabriel went, whether it was UCF, whether it was Oklahoma, whether it was Oregon, everyone was left bitter for having Dillon Gabriel come through their program. Gabriel was strong in the spring. Even though he missed a little time in the summer, preseason game number 2, he looked sharp. Preseason game number 3, he looked very sharp and had quickly separated himself from fellow rookie Shador Sanders. Gillen, Dillon Gabriel got a little mop-up duty in week 2 through his first career touchdown pass to fellow rookie Dylan Sampson against the Baltimore Ravens. Got a couple of snaps in week 4 against the Detroit Lions. But it was kind of becoming obvious that Flacco's play, and you can't just blame Joe. The offensive line does have its issues, and I think that was maybe doubling down as to why the Browns made this move. Dillon Gabriel's agile. He can move around a little bit. On 3rd and 3, you can let Dillon Gabriel's legs get you a first down to move the chains. These are things you just simply were not getting with Joe Flacco. Now, a lot of people who were against this possible move, oh, well, he has to be developed. Dillon Gabriel is going to be 25 in December. And again, Dillon Gabriel has started 63 collegiate games. The only thing that can possibly hold Dillon Gabriel back from success in the NFL. And look, I think Dillon Gabriel probably profiles as a long time number 2 quarterback. But as for right now, he could be the best option the Cleveland Browns have. So the only way to figure out if whether or not the physical limitations that Dillon Gabriel has will hold him back from being a player in the NFL is to play him. It is just that simple. He can either be undersized and succeed, or he could be undersized and not succeed. The only way we're going to find out is putting Dillon Gabriel on the field. A lot of people felt a move like this was not going to happen until week 7. Talked about the Browns' schedule and the first 6 games being a really difficult stretch. Well, we're through 4 of those games, and yes, the Browns are 1 and 3. But this week 5 matchup in London technically is a home game for the Browns, but is now against a Minnesota Vikings team with a lot of injuries that doesn't look nearly as formidable as it did when the original schedule came out. Yes, defensive coordinator Brian Flores from the Minnesota Vikings is a good coach and certainly will try to feast on a rookie quarterback, but he just may not have the overall manpower to succeed with his plan to basically ruin the Dillon Gabriel coming out party. The other thing that makes this interesting for the Cleveland Browns, a lot of folks were, where are the veterans in the room? How were they going to handle this if you pull Joe Flacco? The reality of the matter is the offensive line, which is playing poorly, are essentially those veterans that you're talking about in this scenario. The Browns are young everywhere else on offense. Running back, they have 3 rookies at the running back position on their 53-man roster. Harold Fannin is a nice playmaker and developing probably ahead of schedule for the Cleveland Browns as a receiving option who can play tight end, can play a little wing back, can play a little fullback, jack of all trades, and really fits well into a Kevin Stefanski offense. Wide receivers, you have Isaiah Bond, who is a rookie wide receiver. You have Jamari Thrash, who is now a second-year receiver. And you have Malachi Corley, who just came off in the practice squad, who is also in his second year. So on offense, the players most likely would jive with the rookie quarterback. They're all the same age. They're all young in the league, trying to cut their teeth all at the same time. So this move to go to Gabriel here with an offensive line, and when we talk about this veteran offensive line, all with contracts that will expire at the end of 2025. And even still, if you prolong that to the defensive side of the ball, the defense is in place for at least one more calendar year. And the defense, which is getting taxed right now by a Joe Flacco led offense that cannot get enough points and cannot stay on the field long enough, I think the defense right now is going to welcome whatever positive change can come on the offensive side of the ball. I went on record and said several times for several weeks that Dillon Gabriel right now could go out and give you the same numbers that Joe Flacco can. Well, if he does, then it was a mistake. Dillon Gabriel should have been playing all along. You're trying to develop young quarterbacks here. Neither quarterback, Dillon Gabriel or Shador Sanders, may be the long-term answer for the Cleveland Browns when they hold 2 first-round picks next April in the 2026 NFL Draft. But before you can get to the 2026 NFL Draft, you want to be able to have a fair amount of time to at least see Gabriel and possibly Shador Sanders play. But the Browns are 1 and 3, and they win in Minnesota this week. Pittsburgh is always a tough place to play, but I'm not sold on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if the Cleveland Browns can get a little mojo going here, get a little confidence going here with their offense, their defense has proven already that they are probably top 5 potential. The Cleveland Browns made the correct move in going to Dillon Gabriel. The only question is, will Dillon Gabriel be able to reward the Cleveland Browns back? Jeff Lloyd, the BetCanada channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and we'll talk to you all.